Hello and welcome to another episode of the Women Series program where we capture developments and stories that impact women. I am Ayomide Oguntoye. Today we want to look at the PropTech industry and the opportunities therein for women. Now it might interest you to know that the Nigerian real estate landscape is evolving, propelled by the technological advancements and the rise of PropTech, that's property technology. Now, as the world becomes increasingly digitized, the real estate sector is also embracing innovations to enhance processes, elevate customers' experiences, and reshape how properties are bought, sold, managed, and of course developed. Globally, PropTech has taken the center stage with investments in PropTech startups soaring to about 23 billion naira in 2022. Now, this rapid growth indicates a shifting paradigm in the real estate industry driven by the fusion of the technology and property. Nigeria, of course, is not left behind. The Nigerian real estate sector is also catching the PropTech wave. In 2021, the Nigerian PropTech industry has attracted a total of about 2 million, which underscores the increasing interest and potential of PropTech solutions tailored to the Nigerian market. Interesting, right? Now, this signifies why, of course, it signifies that there is a massive opportunity in this space. And today we will be speaking on the prospect for the growth and opportunities for women in the Nigerian PropTech industry. And I have with me the lead consultant at Lagos Finest Realty Ltd and the executive director at SED Property Ltd, Precious DIRI. Hello, Precious. How are you doing? It's good to have you today.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you.
One major thing I find very interesting about the real estate sector, before we go into PropTech, is the fact that trying to get a property in a vast environment such as Nigeria can be really, really daunting. I mean, I could say this firsthand because I've had my own personal fair share of experience. But what would you make of the industry being really daunting while trying to get a property? I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult if you have your money, but trying to get a property can be really daunting in Nigeria. I mean, what do you make of that as an industry expert?
Okay, so for me, from experience, I would say I have another opinion, right? Which is that it's really easy to get a property, but I can understand from the point of view of someone who is not in the system that I'm in, right? So if you're a client trying to get property, what could make it difficult for you probably would be not finding the right mediator. I'll call it a mediator, right? Not finding the right middleman or agent or consultant to guide you through. I think that can be a problem because, I mean, if you have someone like that, there could be more clarity as to how you can go about acquiring a property, because the average person might not necessarily know some of the key things that they need to know to make acquiring property easy for them, right? So I think that's why it might be difficult.
Right. I mean, that's a good start into the conversation. Let's just go straight into all the things that we have to discuss today. Now, how would you describe the role of PropTech industry in disrupting Nigeria's real estate sector and addressing key issues like data, access to property, and valuation in the property market?
So I'm not quite sure of the years, but it should be within 4 to 5 years now. I'll say 6 to 7 years now. PropTech has been a thing in real estate, right? And there are quite a number of advantages that PropTech industry has brought into the real estate sector in terms of data. So from time in memorial, right, it's been a kind of problem in Nigeria generally, even in other fields, where you don't find data, right? You don't find data. There's no database for people, clientele, and all of that. So in the real estate space, it wasn't different before now. But now that PropTech has gotten into the real estate sector, it's become really easy to, track records of, clientele base and all of that. Even from years back, it's easier to, get property listing sites, get data analysis CRMs for clients, for prospects as well, to follow up on their transactions, get complaints from there as well, reach out to them if there's any form of information to be dispersed and all of that. So I feel like the PropTech industry has, helped real estate to evolve over time. Yeah.
How then would you rate the adoption of PropTech in Nigeria, especially with emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and of course the big data?
So if I'm going to go on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say PropTech has gotten into real estate, say 7/10. There's still room for much more to be done. But what I would say this is, so for instance, houses that I sell, most of these houses now are automated, right? And that's technology. And this helps for easier living, smart living, it opens Nigeria more to the market, the world market, right? Where you have foreign investors wanting to key into these properties because they are automated, right? So we can now say that we've gotten into the luxury listings and all of that, like the developed countries do. So I know that PropTech has gotten into real estate, say 7/10, and it's been increasing on a daily basis. And I believe that it's a step in the right direction, right, for Nigeria as a whole, because before now you couldn't do a virtual tour of properties. So now you don't need to be in Nigeria to buy properties in Nigeria. You could inspect virtually, and that's because of technology. There are things like drone. You see that everywhere now, drone videos of property, aerial view. You can tell it's been able to curb a high level of fraud and all of that, where you say, oh, my family member is helping me build something, and you can't even see what you're doing. Or somebody says there's a land somewhere and you want to purchase, you're not sure if it's dry, if it's waterlogged and all of that. But this time around with technology, infotech, PropTech, you can as well, measure or supervise or, be very sure of what you're trying to buy. And that's key. I believe that's key. And in terms of data as well, you can track, like I said earlier, you can track records, you can track feedbacks of clients, them complaints, treat complaints, timely responses, and all of that. So that's what I would say. I'll say 7/10. That's my rating.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I mean, if we could have like 7/10 for the prop tech industry, I mean, that's good. And that's like a way we know that definitely there will be improvements, and the industry will keep obviously growing further. Now, one interesting thing that happened recently is the fact that, how do I put it now? Let me just go straight to it. Nigeria's headline inflation is currently at 26.72%, and which is, of course, very much unprecedented and an increasing rate for cost of living in the country. We all understand what exactly is going on right now. How is this, of course, affecting the PropTech industry market?
As the cost of living increases, the cost of building materials increases as well, because the same factors affect this too, right? So there's a hike in prices for properties. There's a hike in prices of building materials, which translates into the hike in prices for properties, right? And so because the investors are not necessarily out of this situation as well, it's been a little challenging for properties deals to be closed. It's been a little challenging for developers as well, in terms of trying to still stay on prices within market value. However, having to buy building materials for much more expensive prices, and even ones that they import have become really expensive, right, because of the dollar rate and all of that. So it's been challenging, really challenging. I mean, there's a situation right now where let me share this. So because I have a client for one of these properties, right? We sold the property to the client for 30 million naira as at 2020, and right now the client was supposed to be delivered, the property was supposed to be delivered in 24 months, but now it's almost 36 months, and then property is just about to be delivered. However, the clients are asked to pay an additional fee. Now, it might seem like, oh, that's not the agreement, that's not what was signed, right? That's not what the contract says. But for the developing company, right, they are running at a huge loss, because the cost of materials at the time when they costed the property for 30 million is nothing compared to what it is right now, or during the process of building, since it's an off-plan project. So that really is in deep into the PropTech industry, the real estate industry, in terms of the naira valuation, dollar, fuel, and everything else that affects the economy generally. It really affects the cost of building materials and also the property industry generally.
So is there a level playing ground for how do I put it now, for customers trying to get a property at this point? Are there waivers, so to say, that could also help in lessening the cost of trying to get a property at this point?
Well, personally, I've been preaching co-ownership, right? So because we're in this situation doesn't necessarily mean that we will stop investing, right? So I've been able to come up with ideas for investors who still want to invest but might not necessarily be able to go on the budget that they would have gone for if it wasn't the situation that we're facing right now. So co-ownership is one thing I've been really preaching, and that's really people coming together, of course, with legal bindings that would not cause problems for any of the parties, right? So coming together, so say want to invest in something that is 10 million naira, for instance, and with 10 ladies, we could just co-own it by coming up with 1 million naira each, right? Where I come in play to give you a level playing ground is to give you options of payments that is convenient. So say 6 months, say 12 months, say 24 months, in fact. And that way people are not stuck because of the situation of the economy or a country right now, and then say, oh, we're not investing, but you can still make money one way or the other. So for instance, because you're co-owning, sorry about that, the lights will come on now. So because we're co-owning, right? It's easier to purchase this property, right? And then the property would also appreciate faster than usual because of the market value as it is right now. So that means that we can as well make much more returns from that investment and then split. So that's one idea that I would say can work for the average person trying to invest even in this situation we're in right now. Something else is going for landed properties as opposed to buildings itself. Of course you can go for buildings, but right now it's safer to go for landed properties and just do the land banking thing. So that's really putting in buying the land that's affordable, because it's not a ready to use property right now. So you can just key into that, and then over time you're banking the land and it can eventually appreciate and you can make much more returns from it. I don't know if you understand that. So those are the two options I have for somebody trying to invest in this period, right? I don't see somebody taking 70 million, 100 million to buy a land right now. So I would say, okay, why not go for 6 plots, which is an acre, which sells for maybe 5 million per plot, and that's 30 million naira, as opposed to investing 100 million into a landed property. Now, over time, this land. So, okay, so another case study, right? In May, I sold a property to a lady for 33 million naira for half a plot, right? And this is October. The property is 55 million naira. You can see the margin. So that's 22 million naira increase. Yes. So that's really what I'm talking about. So if you put 33 million naira into a building, it might not be enough. Of course, it will not be enough to buy a house, right? Except you're going to like an underdeveloped area to buy property. So that's really what this is. So what my job is analyze the market value, analyze the situation of the country, analyze dollar and everything, and then suggest to you, consult to you, and advise properly what you can go for. So that's pretty much it.
So as a C-suite executive and a female property consultant, how would you assess gender participation in the real estate sector? And most importantly, what are the prospects for women to participate in the property market?
Okay, so the property market is dominated by men, at least dominated by men. And but recently a lot of women are delving into the real estate market, trying to try their hands around things. Most of the realtor part of it, which is like the mediator between the buyer and the seller. There are also women developers, female developers now, who are, building homes, selling commercial properties and all of that. And there are options now, there are business opportunities in the real estate sector now, ranging from property managers to, short-let managers. So that's the Airbnb kind of properties, right? There are realtors, advisors, there are specific HR for real estate. So I realized that it's not the general kind of HR, right? Because it's quite different because of the architects, the surveyors, the jobs that are not really that only real estate based. So you have from architects to quantity surveyors to registered surveyors, and so many others like that. So women are really delving into that. And if I'll advise, if you want to, start making money from real estate as a woman, you could delve into the realtor network thing. So what that means is, you partner with developing companies and then you sell their properties for them while you get paid as you sell. That's like the easiest that most women get on board with, right? Then also you could get into the investment axis as a woman as well, rather, which is literally buying property, buying land and then selling. So really there are options, there are ways to go about it. You don't necessarily need to use all of your money to do that. You could get the land and then source for investors, submit proposals and all of that. And then there are people waiting to just put their money into something that will give them returns, right? So you could get skilled in that. There are courses you could take. You don't necessarily need to go to school for that. I mean, like a BSc, or you could take short courses. There are a number of them in LBS, there are a number of them in EDC. There are online courses as well. There are trainings being organized for, real estate, newbies and all of that. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, thank you for highlighting those opportunities. I love the fact that you were detailed enough to mention one after the other. These are the opportunities. So I'm sure for a lot of women listening, they would be able to pick out one or the other that would suit them, and then they would be able, I mean, that the most important thing is for us to empower women. As much as you see people giving out arms and all of those things, there's also information, and I think that's what we've done today, feeding them with information that this is what is happening in the PropTech industry, all the property markets, and then there are, what's it called, opportunities for women there in that space. As much as people say that it is a male-dominated environment or a male-dominated industry, I mean, come on, you're a woman in that space and you're doing very well. So definitely, any other woman seeing you today will feel inspired, go into that space, and will do well for herself. Thank you so much, Precious DIRI. It was great speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's all we have for you on today's episode of the Women Series program. I hope you've been able to pick out one or two things around the prop tech industry in Nigeria and the opportunities available for women in that space. I'll see you next week. But before then, like us to follow us on our social media platforms, see the links below. And if you'd like to read more on our financial news, log on to www.proshare.co to get more on that. Until next time, I am Ayomide Oguntoye, and thank you for watching.